I got in the Course, I had studied metaphysical truth and New Thought long before I got involved with the Course in Miracles. And all New Thought is basically based on the idea that thought is creative, and that it's your consciousness that's creating your reality. That's the one common theme I noticed among all the stuff that I would study. It would always come back to me, and it would always come back to my perception, my beliefs, my thoughts. Okay, so I practiced that and discovered that you very much can visualize and focus in on things and manifest them. But it also was a hollow victory because I realized I had not healed my sense of separation from Source, and I was continually getting more and more information and piling more and more information for me to handle alone by myself. And I thought that was spiritual awareness, when I was only just taking my ego and blowing it bigger than it ever was before. And not only that, all that information that you get that you don't use becomes a burden. And it becomes something that your own ego uses against you to make you feel like you're even more of a slacker. You know what I'm saying? You've studied this long and you've read this much and you're still getting really upset if somebody cuts you off in traffic. You know what I'm saying? So the thing that the Course in Miracles did for me was it did the shadow work. It got me in touch with the ideas and beliefs that I had, that I wasn't aware that I had, that was blocking my happiness. Not the ideas and beliefs that I think about myself. It got me in touch with those ideas and beliefs that I'm not aware of, that are still manifesting in my life, but I'm not taking any responsibility for, or seeing how I'm the one that's creating it. So the challenge of teaching the Course in Miracles is that you're saying to people, the Course is, you're basically saying to people the last thing that they want to hear. Where it's a lot easier to teach something when you're saying something that's the thing that people want to hear. But when you're teaching and you're talking about anger, guilt, grievances, when you're talking about the sense of separation from God, or dealing with spiritual issues, or it's not about your script and it's not about my script, and it's, you know what I'm saying, it's about forgiveness, those are not the most popular subjects you can talk about. But when you do get past that block, then that's when the magic happens. And the magic is allowing the universe or spirit to function through you and do things for you. I'd much rather live that way, where my prayer is, God, live your life through me today, than it is for me to try to figure out how I'm going to make it today. So I'm about letting go of the blocks to the awareness of the love and the God and the truth that's already in us. And that's what the Course in Miracles is about. It's about achieving peace of mind. Because it says when you achieve peace of mind, then you can hear your own inner guidance. That you're being guided all the time by your higher self, but we don't hear it. And we don't hear it because of conflict in our minds. That conflict blocks the ability to hear your spiritual guidance. So the most important thing to achieve then would be peace of mind. And then out of peace of mind, you'll be told what to do, where to go. So that's the purpose of the Course, in case anybody's wondering. It's like the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to get you to question every value that you hold and give you new ways of looking at things that would allow you to have peace of mind. Because when you have peace of mind, you can hear your own guidance. Because the name of the game is getting you in touch with the Holy Spirit or the higher self that's within you. You with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if we don't have an intention, if we don't know why we're here, then it's going to be very difficult. Because I'm in the period right now where I'm pushing through a major transformation within my own self right now. So it's made me be kind of like more focused on this stuff than ever before. So before we got started today, I wanted to share with you. This book is called The Holy Spirit's Interpretation of the New Testament. But what I found, it was one of my favorite books of all time. So what I found out about it is like the perfect book to open up wherever you want to get a message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that for us. I'm going to say, okay, Spirit, what's a message that we need to hear right now as a group, before we get started, to get us warmed up in here. And let's see what it is. It was interesting. It says, you don't understand what you ask. Master, we do. We have heard your words. We will give up this world entirely. It is nothing to us compared to you. We will die. We will give up these bodies. They are nothing compared to the rewards of heaven, which is truth and love. But to do all this, we want assurance that our reward will be true. I know we can't relate to any of that. Like, before I'll actually make the move, I got to be absolutely assured how it's going to turn out. And said, Jesus rested with these words a moment, and then he spoke. You say you're willing to drink the cup of which I drink and be baptized with the baptism that baptizes me, but you do not know what you're asking for. In reality, or heaven, it is not for me to say that one may sit at my right or one may sit at my left, for in heaven, which is the truth, all is as the Creator created it to be. Nothing is as it seems to you now. There is not one who can lord over another. There is only one who is a servant unto itself. And this servant serves itself in humility and love, giving of itself for all. So a true servant, my true higher self, when I'm coming from my real self, then I want to serve in humility and love, giving of myself for all. I want to give of myself for all. That's what I want to do. If you all are indeed me and I'm indeed you, then at some point I got to start acting like it. One of the things I'll do to act like it is I will see you as each and every one of you having the Spirit of God within you and the ability to get in touch with that power for yourself and for you to follow your own inner guidance, and see my role as never forgetting that you are totally complete, you're totally innocent, there's nothing missing in you, and that love is your natural state, and that's what you are. The way that I'm going to show my love for you is to remember that you're a spiritual being having a human experience and that you're not a victim of anything you see. And how I'm going to support you is to listen to you, hear what it is you want based on your own inner guidance. And if it's loving and peaceful, what can I do to support that happening? What can I do to help you remember this? There's a point on the spiritual path that you go as far as you can go by yourself. That at some point it's got to be a real joining coming down. And that's where I'm at. That's where we're at right now. Don't you think? Haven't you gone as far as you think you want to go by yourself? I know I am. And I want to remember. I want to remember better than I've ever remembered before. And we're in this section called The Lessons of Love. And we're on page 108 in the Course in Miracles. And there are 3 lessons that says that Spirit is teaching us. There's 3 lessons that love is teaching us. Number 1, to have all, give all to all. So every situation and circumstance is teaching us that to have full appreciation, we need to give full appreciation to have full appreciation. So that's the first lesson. The first lesson is full appreciation. I try to hedge my bets by being around people that I love and that I appreciate. Then I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to make myself do it. I used to hang out with people that I didn't appreciate and thought my spiritual quest was to make myself like people I didn't like. And if I could make myself like people I didn't like, I had somehow grown spiritually. I found out it was a lot easier to be around people that I like and out of the joy that I'm feeling from that experience within and without, to let that kind of overflow on the people that I can't stand. Realizing that the only reason why I can't stand them is that they reminded me of something in myself that hasn't been healed and resolved yet. And I'm not ready to be reminded of that right now. And so when I'm not ready to be reminded of it right now, I'll act like they're making me mad and I'm upset with them, instead of realizing that all they're doing is triggering something that's going on in me already that I'm pretending I'm not feeling. In other words, you can't make me mad. You can just trigger the part of me that's already mad. And then I can say, you just made me mad. So when I said I wanted to recognize the truth, when I said I wanted to know what love was, I didn't realize I was asking to realize everything within myself that was not loving, and that it had to come up and to be released forever. So I got really serious and asked for it. So right now I'm going through a phase that I'm seeing everything that's hidden under every rock of my being that I've been pretending is not there, in terms of fear, anger, guilt, sense of separation, hopelessness, aimlessness, dissatisfaction, and where I think I want to be different and it'll be happy, and then I'll be happy. All right? And so I get the honor and the privilege of looking at those parts of myself, and instead of trying to change them, look at them as being cause for love, cause for innocence, not reflecting who I really am at any level, and taking it easy on me. It's time for me to take it easy on me. All right? And when I take it easy on me, then everybody else does. It's weird how it works like that. Everybody still with me on this? All right. So let me get this together right quick. I'm very spontaneous because I actually listen while I'm talking, and then I do what I'm being told to do.
That's good. Let them all come in. We love them.
No. The second step is to have peace, teach peace, to learn it. So first I give full appreciation, and then the next thing I do is if I want to have peace in my life, there's some chairs in that closet right there. Yeah. Yeah, you go. Yeah, you just slide that table back to give you some space. Cool. So if there's someone in your life that you would like to change, then the course is then saying, well, to have peace, I got to teach peace to learn it, and to teach peace is to demonstrate peace. So therefore, when I'm ready to go off, I need to shut the hell up, and I need to breathe. I need to ask for another way to look at it, because the only way I'm going to have peace is for me to demonstrate peace, because he teaches that a teacher is a demonstrator. So now I got to actually live by the truth that I'm teaching. So if I want to have peace, which is total fulfillment, by the way, not contemplating your navel in a cave. The Course describes total peace. Peace is total fulfillment. I love that definition of peace. When I say I want peace with you, I'm saying I want to allow myself to feel the total fulfillment with you that's already inside of me. All right? Now, most people form relationships to hide the way they feel about themselves from themselves temporarily, through the admiration and attention that someone else is giving them. I'll say that one more time. The average person that's looking for a relationship is really looking for someone to help them hide the way they feel about themselves from themselves, and to get their temporary sense of value from the attention that they're getting from that other person. Let's say I feel like I'm lonely and I'm insecure and I'm afraid. And I say I want a relationship, and I meet somebody. They treat me really, really special. They give me a lot of attention. Well, I still haven't dealt with my issues. I still haven't changed the way I feel about myself. I still haven't gotten rid of any of my guilt and insecurities. It's just that temporarily, they are helping me hide the way I feel about myself from myself through the attention that they're giving me. Everybody follow me now? What I'm saying? And so what happens is the reason why the Course in Miracles says people get disillusioned in relationships is because what happens is sooner or later, if you haven't dealt with your own issues of letting go of the fear and separation within yourself, then the person you're in a relationship with will start to trigger your fears, and then you get disillusioned because they were supposed to be the ones that made you feel so good and made you feel so complete, but now they're not hiding the way you feel from yourself, about yourself from you. They're actually triggering how you feel about yourself that you haven't learned how to love yet. So that's what people call the disillusionment in love. So a person that really wants to do it right, in my perception, would be a person who, first of all, would accept the fact that they're whole and complete, and maybe they don't perceive it that way, so the only thing they have to do is learn how to let go of the blocks that keep them from being aware that they are loved, that they deserve love, and that they are innocent, and that they are free. Then they form relationships with someone else that's whole and complete as themselves, who's also trying to remember who they really are also. And then in the process of joining together, they're constant reminders for each other of the truth of who they really are. So instead of helping each other forget the love that they are, they help each other remember the love that they are through full appreciation and demonstrating peace and total fulfillment with each other. Everybody with me on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, now the average person who thinks they're separate from God, separate from love, and separate from self, they form relationships, like we said earlier, in order to hide the truth about themselves for themselves. And they also have a need to reenact the past and change it. So they've usually had other relationships that did not work. So they are yearning for a special relationship so that they can reenact what happened in the other relationship, and this time it's going to turn out better than it did the last time. So this time you're supposed to restore my wounded self-esteem from what happened in the other relationship. So I'm with you so that everything that didn't happen to me with her is not going to happen to me with you, because this time I'm going to get it right. This time I'm going to do it the way it should be done. So in a sense, the person is not in a relationship with you. They're in a relationship with the person who's not there.
I agree.
They're looking at you in terms of the person that they were with in the past, and trying to make sure that you don't do to them what this is not. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier about the Course in Miracles that can make it a challenge. That's why I tell people you don't have to believe it, accept it, or welcome it. Because again, remember, my original premise was that with the Course in Miracles, you're dealing with ideas and thoughts that are not conscious. So it would be very easy to say, well, I'm not like that. Like I've counseled people before, and it'd be a couple, and I'll maybe point out a characteristic about one partner, and that partner will say, no, I don't think I ever do that. And the person, what the hell are you talking about? You did that on the way over here. You did it 5 times this morning. So someone's like, we're the last ones to be honest about our egos. We're the last ones, because we tend to think that we think the way we have thought last. Like however I'm thinking about myself right now, that's really the way I think about myself. But that's like the little tip of the iceberg. So the real healing doesn't happen until I'm looking at the iceberg. What was under the water is what got the Titanic more than what was on the top. Okay, so I'm saying we're like, our egos are like icebergs. We just see the topmost portion of it. And the part that's creating what we see in the world is that which upsets us. That's nothing but a reflection of the thoughts that we have that we're not aware of. Whoa! So the Course in Miracles says what you do is you attract people to you who reflect the ideas that you're in denial about, so that you can get in touch with what's going on in your own mind that you don't really know is happening. That's why the irritating guy shows up, because you have irritating thoughts that you're in denial about. That's why the person who comes up, all the people in the world who you don't identify with, but you see as being around you all the time and who you have to deal with, those people are reflections that we don't have to believe, because of course, these people are just reflections of subconscious ideas that I have about myself that I am in denial about. So I become the nice person that all the crappy stuff is always happening to. Those are the victims. The ones that's so good that's always going through changes are people who are out of touch with their own anger. Now what we have to watch in the New Thought, New Age, higher consciousness movement is mistaking truly being loving for being as the same as being positive. Or really being honest is being positive. It's like it's all about being positive to the extent that you sweep everything that's really going on under the rug, as if somehow by pretending you don't feel it, it really makes you this loving person. Take a breath with me. So when a person is saying, I'm ready to experience total joy, then they're ready to clean the part of themselves that they don't see. Now, how do you get rid of all those irritating people that show up in your life that you think you feel upset about? And I'll tell you how you get rid of them from your life. Would you like to know?
Yes.
All you have to do is own that they are reflecting some quality within yourself that you need to ask for another way to look at.
Yep.
And they'll stop coming around to get you to look at yourself. But every time you project it as being on them, you're just requesting another opportunity to learn that lesson in a brand new form. All right, so do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I want to be happy.
You want to be happy, okay. Well, then hope that you're wrong when you're feeling miserable. Don't want to be right about what you're upset about. Want another way to look at it is what it's saying. So again, I'm just saying different things today, not to convince anyone. It's not about whether you believe me or whether you agree with me, because you're supposed to check in with yourself, see what resonates for you, and then go with it. And what doesn't resonate for you right now, just drop it and let it go. So I'm sharing as much truth as I can in an hour, hoping that something that Spirit says through me will be the thing that resonates with you that will allow you to go, maybe I want to do that differently. Okay, you with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last stage, the last lesson, and we've been covering the lessons of Holy Spirit. The last lesson of love is be vigilant only for God and His kingdom. Don't let the Christian terminology throw you. It's saying be vigilant only for the Creator and for the creation of love. So if I want to learn the lesson, then I need to be vigilant for the truth only. I should be vigilant only for my Creator. I should be vigilant only for the kingdom of love. That should be the thing that I'm most vigilant about. So the Course says, we have said before that the Holy Spirit is evaluative. That means that the part of you that is in touch with the truth, your divine self, is evaluative and must be evaluative. Your higher self sorts out the true from the false in your mind. So your higher self is sorting out what's true in your life right now from what's false in your life right now. And then it teaches you to judge every thought you allow into your mind in light of what God put there. Let's make that real easy and practical. All right? I'm in a relationship with you, and I'm having thoughts about you. The love in me is going to sort the true from the false out in my mind. So if I know the truth, then I've got to judge every thought that enters my mind in light of the truth. Because the truth is you're me. The truth is we are one. The truth is you're innocent. Now, the thoughts that I am thinking, do those thoughts correspond with the thoughts of truth? So every time I'm thinking something, I go, well, all right, like I spoke at a gathering last night, and whenever I feel fear, and I always feel fear, any speaker will tell you they always go through some level of fear before they ever speak. I don't care how many times you do it. So as a matter of fact, they say you should wear it in a way when you don't. Because by then maybe your ego is taking over. So what I have to always do is remind myself not to try to act like anything other than myself. What would the truth tell me? Well, the truth would tell me everybody in this room is part of me. The truth would tell me that this is another opportunity for me to show people who I am and who they are to me. The truth would say to me, this is another opportunity to see people as unlimited spiritual beings regardless of how they see themselves. This is another opportunity for me to demonstrate joining instead of separation. And this is another opportunity for me to trust that Spirit will come through me and say what needs to be said rather than me trying to figure out what I'm going to say before I say it. So I have to do what the truth is saying right here. You judge every thought, Raj, as you allow to enter your mind in light of what the truth put there. And whatever is in accord with the truth in you retains to strengthen the love in you. What is partly in accord with the truth in you accepts and purifies. But what's out of accord with the truth in you rejects it completely. So there are 3 stages when something is going through your mind. Your higher self will take whatever you are saying, and if it's the truth, we'll make it stronger. If it's not the truth, we're going to accept what you're saying, but we're going to purify it. And if it's completely ridiculous, you just friggin' reject it. Those are the 3 instructions. What I'm saying, I feel one with you. I'm going to strengthen that idea. Oh, okay, I kind of like you, kind of don't like you. Then I need some purification. What does that mean? I need another way to look at you. So that the way I look at you can be more in alignment with the truth. You ever wonder why higher spiritual beings tend not to talk a whole lot? Like if there are invisible guides and teachers or higher beings, why aren't they like overtly interfering with what's going on right now? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Like if there is a God, why doesn't that God just get rid of the problem of all the starving children in Africa or whatever is happening? I've asked myself those kind of questions. And the Course in Miracles is saying something really, really radical. I mean, it's really friggin' radical. It's so radical that it makes most people throw the book away. And what it's saying is that when you change your mind, when you heal your mind, when you are loving, you will see the world healed in an instant, right before your very eyes and your perception. And that sounds so radical to me because I think I'm so separate from everything in my world. But if it truly is a projection of my own mind, if this truly is us and we are one mind, then we are just looking at the projections of the one mind. So all we have to do is change the one mind. How do you do that? By changing yours. There is no one but you. There's just the illusion that there's a lot of us here. So I'm sitting here the whole time remembering that I'm only talking to myself, and all that I give is being given to myself. So how do I give the gift to you? I give the gift to you of what I'm teaching by having absolutely no concern about whether or not you do anything with it when I give it to you. Because a true gift is always given with no kind of attachment to the outcome. So I couldn't be a good teacher if I was sitting up here worried about whether or not you accepted what I was saying, because it would make me be inauthentic, because I would immediately stop telling you the truth so that I could get the reaction from you that I wanted to get from you. So just teaching this makes me have to trust that there's something greater than me taking care of me, because everybody comes and goes. So I have to believe that there's something greater than me that's with me right now. So the level of freedom that people say they want, that level of freedom only happens when you heal your sense of separation from source, which is really deep. Things you want.
So you can tell I know how much it rings.
Say what? Well, I personally have never had a cell phone go off
I know you have.
in any situation whatsoever. Everything always happens perfect for me at all times. So the hardest part about doing this is to continue to tell people that they're loving, lovable, and innocent, and powerful, and not victims, and they deserve to be happy.
Okay. Yes.
That's what makes my class tough.
Yeah.
Because to even begin to come here, you had to have already decided that you were going to love yourself. And once you decided you were going to love yourself, then the effect called this class manifested. It's not the other way around. It's not the class manifested and then you're going to change your mind. The truth is you've already changed your mind about loving yourself, so the class manifested. And what is the class manifested? The idea that you are this unlimited, powerful being that deserves to have peace. So the only reason why you're hearing this is you already believe it.
Yay.
You know what I'm saying? You decide to get angry, then you have an event that makes you angry. You decide to separate in a relationship, then something comes up to break you up. You decide to have prosperity, then the situations come. It's just the reverse of what everybody thinks. You know, when you're through with a relationship, it's not that something happened that broke y'all up. You were through with the relationship, so you created something that broke you up. Because you were already ready to change. Most relationships are not meant to be lifelong relationships. That's another thing that the Court says is a big fallacy of this realm. Is that we have this illusionary idea that every relationship you have with everybody is supposed to be a relationship that y'all have for the rest of your life. And then the Court says that's very rare that you have a relationship with anybody that lasts a lifetime. And all you have to do is look at the experience that you're in and you realize that that's true. Right? I mean, that's not even abstract. Right? Okay, so what is one of the things that people are creating a lot of guilt about around relationships? The fact that it didn't last. So it's something wrong with me because I don't have relationships that last. And the Course in Miracles said, nah, nothing's wrong with you. You just learned as much as you could from each other at the time and appeared to separate. You had an intense teaching, learning situation. You learned as much as you could from each other at this time and then you appeared to separate. Your relationship is destined to become holy and destined to become healed. All right? So that's normal. That's what most of them are going to do, Earl. Most of them are going to not last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, how can I tell when it's time for me to move on and that we've learned as much as we can and now it's time for us to separate? Well, if they got a knife to your throat, that's a hint. That might be a way to, if you're running down the street hollering, call 911. Usually by then a person has completely ignored the fact that they had learned as much as they could from that person at that time. When it gets to the point that there's violence and there's anger and attack all the time, you're ignoring the fact ain't nothing else you can learn with them right now. How do I know ain't nothing else I can learn with them right now? There is no peace. There is no love. There is no joy. There is no communication. There is no peace. There is no joy. There's no love. There's no communication right now. Well, are you saying that I shouldn't stick to it no matter what? Yeah. No, I'm not telling you exactly what to do. You should be more loyal to the truth than that person. You should be more loyal to who you really are, the truth of your being, than that person. I love that Gandhi they told a story about Gandhi doing this march. I thought it was so great, It's like he was marching or something, and all of a sudden he stopped. And he said, I'm through, not gonna do this. And they was like, and they was like freaked out. He said, what I'm not. They said, you're not gonna do this march. You're not gonna stick with this march. And he says, I'm not here to be faithful to the march. I'm here to be faithful to the truth. And my truth is I shouldn't do this now. And I have to think about how many times that's come up in my life where it was an issue of would I be faithful to my truth or would I be faithful to the principles that I say I believe about myself? You know what I'm saying? That's, for me, that's even what it came down to when I was married. It came down to, would I be true to myself and what I felt was the truth for me, or would I change in order to keep a marriage together where the person was going in an entirely different direction from me, and that was okay for them to do that? Because my teaching was saying it's okay to trust a person to do the thing that's best for them. So therefore, even though I would have preferred to have it last, they were obviously wanting to go in another direction. So the way that I could show my love was to say, I want you to do what really makes you happy, what really feels fulfilling for you, even though I knew I didn't want that relationship to end. That person had a different thought system, being in the other thought system, which is, if you would change, then everything will be all right. See, that's, the Course says that's the ego's plan. That the false plan, the fearful plan, the crazy plan, the plan that'll never work, the Course says, well, the crazy plan is for you to tell yourself, if this person or situation or circumstance were different, then I'd be happy. He said that's the fear-based plan. That's the plan that people in the world use in one form or another all the time. I'll be happy when I'm somewhere else. I'm going to be happy as soon as you do something else. It's like all of my happiness is based on something or someone around me changing. So I was going to live my truth, which was, yeah, I could have said if you really changed, then I'm going to be happy. And if you would not follow your heart, darling, then we could be together. But I'm not like that. So I went, I want you to do what makes you happy. You know, I want you to do what makes you happy because that's what love does. That's what he's saying right here. That when you're presented with a situation, you go, let me judge this thought that I'm allowing to enter into my mind now by the light that God put there. Well, okay, here's a situation right now, and this person is wanting to go in a totally different direction from what I would like to go in. The part of me that's controlling and wants to have my script acted out my way, wants them to sacrifice what it is that they really want to do, because I call that love based on the fearful perception of reality. And so what would the truth say? Well, the truth would say, ask this person if that's what they really want to do in their heart, and that's what's really important to them, and if that's really what they think would make them happy, and that's the direction that they really feel like they need to go, then you would support it. My ego, my real self is going, yeah, that's exactly what you do. Because you always listen to people, and whatever answer you are telling them, the Course says that's what's going to come to you. So when you're listening to a person, it isn't so much what they're saying. What's important is for you to answer them in terms of what you want. And I went, whoa, that's. You see why the Course in Miracles gets a lot of resistance? How it so easily can bring up that part of us that says, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, because it's so clear and concise. First of all, when you're talking to a person, they're never hearing one single thing you're saying anyway. That's the first illusion, number one, is that anybody that's listening to you is actually hearing anything you're saying. They're hearing sounds, and then they give the meaning to the sounds that you're saying. So all they're really listening to is their own thoughts. They're only listening to their own projections, their own interpretations. And what they're responding to is more the energy behind the words than the words themselves. That's what people don't understand about communication. Is that people think it's all about, did you say it right? No, it's did you feel it right? You know, it's some love coming through you. It's something real coming through you behind the words. So when you're talking to someone, you could try to be as concise as you could possibly be, and they still would be giving their own meaning to everything that you're saying. So therefore, they're not hearing you, they're hearing their interpretation of what you're saying. Everybody with me on that? Yeah. All right. So since you're not hearing me anyway, all right, now get with this. Since you're not really hearing me anyway, it would be much more beneficial for me to say what I need to hear. Think about that for a minute. So before I answer you, I'm going to ask myself, what do I want to come to me? Because whatever I say to you is what's going to come to me. And so when you listen to people in terms of what you want, then you can respond in a way that'll benefit you, because you will still be with you long after they walked away. So the thing you just reminded yourself of through saying it to them is going to have a much greater effect on you more consistently. That's why I teach this class. I never know who's going to show up at a Course in Miracles class. I've done Course in Miracles classes 30 years. And I've seen from huge classes to small classes to... The only thing that's consistent about my classes is that it's inconsistent.
And we'll show up late.
Yeah, it's just right. So and who also likes to come, go where they want to, how they want to, when they want to, where they want to, share how they want to. Who do you think is like that? Me. So for anybody to come to my class and then for me to condemn them for acting exactly the way I do would be unconscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can only see someone else's ego through my own ego. You can never see fear through love. That's what the Course teaches. I mean, this deep stuff in this book.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, there's no such thing as me being in my love mind, seeing you as fearful. Love wouldn't even see it.
Right.
I'm in my fearful mind seeing you as fearful. So I need to ask myself, what is it within me that I need to let go that's creating the fear within me? If I was truly correcting everything around me, I wouldn't be saying anything to any of you. That's how I'll know when I got it. I'll be so aware that it's me that's creating my reality that if there's anything I need to have changed, I'll just deal with it within myself and wouldn't even say anything to you about it at all. Woo! Am I there yet? Hell no. I'm not there yet consistently, and I'm okay with that. All that matters is that I know what direction I want to go in. The Course says everything else will be added. That my only responsibility is to get clear that I want to go in the direction of love. Everything else will be given to me that I need to get there. I don't even have to know how to get there. As a matter of fact, the Course says the reason why your plans are not used by the universe, your personal plans, your plan for your happiness. And he says, now how can you tell when you've been using your plan? That's a fair question. Your butt not satisfied. And we said, well, how do you know when there's a plan you're making up? You have no satisfaction even when you achieve it. As soon as you achieve it, you're already on your way to something else because you feel a greater sense of dissatisfaction. He said the reason why Spirit laughs at your plans is because you don't think highly enough of yourself for us to follow your plan. I thought that was awesome. It's like, in other words, it's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do what you're telling me to do. Why? Because you don't think enough of yourself. I don't want to follow the plan of somebody that don't love themselves. It's not going to be a plan that's going to be as expansive and glorious as the one that I deserve. That's deep.
Yeah.
And this book says stuff like that. Resign right now as your own teacher. Why? Because if you honestly look at the results of you teaching yourself, you'd be glad to. You know, you just haven't taken an honest assessment. Haven't you been trying to make yourself happy from the day you were born? How successful have you been? But then the Course says every time you fail, Spirit is like hilariously happy. Because every time one of my plans fail, I'm closer to the time that I'll surrender to the plan of my higher, greater self. Every time one of mine failed, I'm one time closer to going, okay, I surrender. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? The Course says that's what you say when you're ready to use God's plan. When you're ready to use God's plan, you're saying, oh, God is plan, or whatever words you need to mean something greater than your ego. We all got our personal forms of illusion. You know, it's like whatever gets me to the point that I'm willing to listen to how I could have it given to me easily, that's when I'm moving towards Spirit. Life is not meant to be a struggle. It is not meant to be hard. You don't have to have pain to have gain. If you think you need pain to have gain and you're in pain, you should be so happy now. You should be thankful. You'd be going, I'm the person who I don't believe it should come easy. I think I should have to work really, really hard. Okay, now you're working 60 hours a week and you're going to school. Good, you're having it hard. Just like you said you needed to do, because you're all about no pain, no gain. You ought to be like in ecstasy right now. The universe always says yes. Nobody loves me. Yes. Things can go great for me. Yes. Life sucks. Yes. Haven't had an orgasm in 6 years? Yes. And I love that. So it's like, what am I asking it to say yes to? And it doesn't take as long to manifest something that's based on the truth as something that's based on a lie. It's much more work to keep an illusion going than to keep something real going. Something real is effortless to maintain. Something unreal, you got to be working hard to take care of it every single day. Woo! And the thing that you work the hardest for and you struggle the most is whatever it is that you desire to have that's all for you by yourself. And the Course says that, what? So I'm getting my reactions like, what? Yeah. Whatever it is that's only for you is going to be the thing you're going to work the hardest to keep. And then when I look back through my life, that is absolutely true. That's absolutely true. He says, this is a course in learning that love isn't just for you alone. Joy isn't just for you alone. Connection isn't just for you alone. The most safe relationship I've ever experienced in a personal relationship with somebody in a relationship was and it's still alive to the day because, if it's real whether you're around each other or not, it's still there. And we had set the goal in our relationship, because we both got in the Course in Miracles at the same time, that we were going to have a love that was not dependent on what our bodies did. That our love was not going to be based on what you did or did not do with your body, period. I'm not just talking about sex or relations. I'm talking about anything. Because we realized that in watching everyone around us, as well as listening to the Course in Miracles, that the relationship, that no matter how tight a person was in a relationship, they would destroy that relationship or even get to the point they hated that person because there was something that that person did with their body that they didn't like, that they didn't approve. This is heavy stuff what I'm saying right now, so I know it's not for the faint of heart. It's okay. It's okay. But there will come a time on the spiritual path that you have to get to the point that you love people beyond their bodies. That you love people beyond what their body does, what it did, what it might do, what it might ought to do. And everybody reaches these stages at its own time. But it's always seemed kind of ludicrous to me that people could think that they're on a spiritual path that's teaching them that you are all one and that you're connected and you're all the same being, and think that the way we look at relationships are not going to change. It's crazy. Because what happens is, the more you open up to love, the more people there are in your life to love. And you'll get to the point you will not sacrifice the love of all these beings for the love of one. And it'll freak people out who think it's just that, because they think they're going to lose if you love more than them. They don't get that actually it takes a ton of pressure off your butt. Because then you are no longer responsible for fulfilling someone's every need, which you really can't do anyway. So even if it was something you didn't want to do, a conscious being would say to you, you know what, I'm not really into skiing. As a matter of fact, if you ever see me somebody look like me coming down a slope, shoot it, because it's a clone. When you see Earl going, then that's a clone. We need to kill that. That's not really Raj right there. You know what I'm saying? But if you drive down the street and you see a barbecue grill going and I'm kicked back, man, that's the real me. I love how my friend said, I'm going on vacation. What you gonna do? I'm gonna climb 6 14ers. I was like, really? Boy, that's not the way it is in black culture. I'm gonna kick back with a barbecue grill going. You know what I'm saying? I don't work hard on my vacation that I do when I'm working. But it's like, but it's all about what? It's the perception. For that person that's climbing that mountain, that's heaven.
Yeah.
For me, that'd be hell. So what do we know? Mountains are neutral. The Course says every single thing in this world is neutral. So it's only what we choose to use it for that determines the experience that we have of it. That's why we can't condemn anything, because it's just our perception of it. See, I don't know what's best for you. So when someone says pray for a healing, a specific thing with me, I don't really do it. I always ask for God's will in that situation. What is the will of love? What would be the greatest thing for this person to happen? Because what they've decided should occur might not necessarily be the thing that's going to bring them the greatest amount of benefit just because they want it. Because then I realize that we're pretty much like little children in that regard. You know, what do little children do? Well, they just want it, and you'll say, well, that's not good. The little shiny scissors you can poke your eye out with, and the kid is screaming its guts out because you took the scissors away. But you knew that they could hurt themselves with those scissors. You with me on that? So just because the kid wanted it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for the kid, and just because you ask for stuff don't necessarily mean it's the best thing for you to have either. All right? So when you say I want God to decide for me, or the higher self to decide for me, the higher self might decide that ain't happening. And then it doesn't happen, and your ego go, well, see, I prayed for it and God didn't answer my prayer. Your prayer was answered. You didn't get it. That was the answer. That wouldn't have been for your own best interest. I've done it about relationships. I feel myself being attracted to somebody to restore my wounded self-esteem, and hopefully with, you know, the right kind of butt. And hopefully. I know none of you all have ever been attracted to people for body parts. I know y'all are way beyond. I love how people look at you like, really? You could be attracted to somebody because of how their body look? I don't believe that. No, I don't see nobody here hanging out with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? We tend to have our preferences that we would like our lesson to come in. You know what I'm saying? Sure. We like different kind of gift wrapping for that gift. You know what I'm saying? And that gift is either going to be somebody who helps me remember who I am, or somebody who helps me forget who I am as a child of the universe. And I'm telling you, there's only two types of people in your life. People who are helping you recognize your innocence, which in that case, you would not be attracting painful things to yourself because the innocent mind doesn't believe it deserves to suffer. Everything comes from the mind, so an innocent mind tends not to attract painful situations. Isn't that deep? A guilty mind is taught that if I'm guilty, I need to be punished. The punishment is correction. So the Course in Miracles says that feeling guilty is a request for punishment. So every time you say, I feel guilty about something, you unconsciously telling the universe, give me the punishment that I think I deserve so that I can be okay again. And when people have decided to punish themselves, you can always tell because they'll ignore any information that they receive that would get them out of the situation that's painful for them. And that simply means that they have decided on the length of time that they're going to suffer in order to be okay again. And if they decided on 6 months, friends can call them, parents can call them, they can go to 100 workshops, but until 6 months that they've sentenced themselves to is up, they won't miraculously hear the answer that'll make them feel better. So I'm asking you to pardon yourself today. Pardon yourself today. We're like prisoners who've been pardoned that's in a prison where the jail cell is open, all the guards and convicts are gone, and the whole prison is overrun with vines and weeds because everybody's gone, but we sitting in the cell waiting for somebody to free us. And then wondering, when they gonna come rescue me? Nobody's gonna rescue you. Why? Because you're free. There's no need for you to be rescued except in your own mind. So the last step is to be vigilant for the truth. Be vigilant for the love. Be vigilant for what you know is right. So last night I felt like that was another opportunity for me to give what I wanted to receive. I want relationships that are unconditionally loving. So I had to start being that way. So anybody I'm in any kind of relationship with, I'm asking them, what do you want? What do you want, and how can I support you? And if there's something you want to do that I can't handle, because that don't mean just because I'm saying you're free to do what you want to do, that means that I think I can handle everything that's done. Okay, but I am mature enough in my spiritual awareness where I'll take responsibility for my reaction to that. And if it's something I can't handle, I'll choose out of the situation. But I'm not asking you to be something that you're not, so that I won't deal with my own fear. See, people think that they're around people who don't do anything to trigger them, that's love. You haven't gotten rid of any of your fear just because somebody's not doing anything that triggers you. You're staying right within that fence of your own, that corral of your own insecurity. So I try not to ask other people to change to make me happy. But I do know that Holy Spirit, my higher self, knows who's naturally the best match for me. Who knows who's naturally, I'm totally into red, right? And you hate red. Well, Spirit knows who's naturally into red, so I wouldn't have to try to make them wear red. You follow what I'm saying? There's nothing you can think of that there's not someone who corresponds to anything you can think of, because they exist because you thought of them. That's how you know they're out there. You thought of them. So there's no excuse for loneliness. There's no excuse for not having relationships. There's no excuse for not having prosperity. There's no excuse for not having peace at all, because anything you can conceive of is out there. But it's your desire and your focus that allows it to be drawn to you. So to wholly desire is to create, is what the Course teaches. That it's nothing, how do you put it? Nothing's difficult that's wholly desired. So when I heard that statement, I went, okay, based on that statement, what is it in my life that I don't really desire, but I say I do? What is in my life, and who is it in my life that I say I really, really want, but it's difficult? Well, that immediately lets me know what in my life I'm trying to do that I don't really want. The thing in my life that I'm trying to do that I don't really, really want, I'm just fooling myself, is the thing I'm saying is the most difficult to achieve. Because if it's totally desired, the Course says you are a creator. That's what we were created to do. Creation is our function. He says seeing and doing is what's unnatural to us. That's why we're so freaking tired. Because we're doing. And we analyzing. He said that's not our natural function. We're creators. We're supposed to say, let there be, and it is. I think it, and it's there. Fortunately, we're in a three-dimensional reality that slows everything down so that sometimes you can prepare yourself for the thing you asked for before it gets there, which is really cool. Suppose everything you asked for happened just like that in your perception. That would be so chaotic. So it's great that you say, I want this incredible relationship with someone sometimes, and it looks like it gets 3 months to get there, because in those 3 months, you've had an opportunity to correct the parts of you that need to be healed, so that when it shows up, you can fully receive it instead of sabotaging it because you don't really believe you deserve it anyway. Yeah. So time really is kind when it's used for your happiness. It's only cruel when you're using it to punish yourself. Because you only deserve happiness. And that's what I'm going to affirm. I don't care what you think. So would you acknowledge yourself for hearing the black man rant for an hour? I want to acknowledge you for let yourself hear that. Yeah, that's the price you're going to pay for coming around me. You're going to hear about how cool you are. Yeah. And I'm sorry. You want to be around somebody to criticize you, just go home. So let's bless the love offering. I teach full-time on a love offering basis because I want anybody to be able to come to my classes regardless of their financial situation. And I trust that I'm sustained by the love of God, and you are sustained by the love of God, and we are sustained by the love of God. That means you are sustained by God's love for you. Not for your love for the Creator, but you're being sustained by the Creator's love for you. And remind yourself that you deserve to be paid for having fun. You deserve to be paid for having fun. You deserve to be paid for having fun, doing what you love.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions using the Course in Miracles teachings and my knowledge of astrology and numerology. I'm telling you, not as big a mystery as you think. And there's a lot of information you can get to make your experience easier. And that's what we're here for. It's so good. We're so blessed.
Yeah, we really are. We're loved. And we're lovable.
You know what's really deep is that we were being told that we feel guilty really because we know we are betraying ourselves by feeling guilty. I thought that was interesting. It's like guilt is nothing but a reflection of self-betrayal.
Self-betrayal.
It means you've lost sight of how loving you truly are, and you are believing your own story.
Yes.
So here's a message from your higher self. Close your eyes just for a minute. Focus on WCIM.
Focus on what?
The Course in Miracles. You think you're guilty because you want to serve a will other than the will of love. Your true desire is to serve love's will, which is God's will. But your sense of unworthiness is an obstacle to that desire. Do you see the loop in which you are snared? Can you see how your own belief in guilt and unworthiness seems to lead you unto the path of increased guilt and additional unworthiness? This is why I have come to help you look at the upside down reasoning within your mind that keeps you feeling trapped. And I also want to help you see that you are not trapped. You are not trapped because you can lay down the reasoning that seems to make no sense. When you lay down that reasoning that makes no sense, when you put that reasoning that doesn't make any sense aside, then you are free to know the reasoning of your higher self, which is right reasoning, which is joy. So, accept the goal of unconditional love for yourself. But make sure you honor the boundaries that you think you have right now. Because by honoring the boundaries that you feel are best for you right now, it creates a feeling of safety. And when you feel safe, that's when the love flows. So I'm not saying don't have boundaries for yourself. I'm not saying that you should just put up with anything that anybody does. I'm saying that ultimately you're going to know that true love is freedom. Freedom for yourself and freedom for those you love. There'll be a point that you will know you cannot lose and that nothing real can be threatened. And if you have something that's real, you can't lose something that is real. And you are real. You are innocent. You are powerful. You are glorious. You are incredible. You are juicy. You are delicious. It's an honor to be in your presence. It's an honor to know you. You are a blessing to everyone around you. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the truth of the world. You are the truth of the world. You are here to be the truth of the world. Your happiness in this world shows other people that it's possible to be happy here. You owe it to everyone you know to do the thing that makes you feel fulfilled and happy inside. It's the greatest gift you could give to everybody you know is to allow yourself to have the joy, the power, the abundance, the success that you feel that comes from within yourself. You owe it to me to have a good day today. You owe it to everybody in this room to have happiness today. Sacrifice is not love. Thank you so much for showing up today. Holy Spirit. Second, remember, hugs are available. Let's give it to us. Give it like, give it up to us. Give it up for us. That's right. Doggone it. 7 o'clock on Thursday, next class. I put all my classes on the internet. Just Google Earl Purdy, YouTube, and I'll show up.
I haven't played this in a long time.
Yeah, that's Andreas Bolinvita.
I know it is.
He is so cool.